the youth a platform to air out how they feel about our black community and the society. So this evening, I've got two youths with me, Mr. Oditola Donnell and Isabel Dia. And they're going to introduce themselves. Isabel?
Hi, my name is Isabel and I'm 18 years old.
What do you do?
I'm currently, I just finished studying my A-levels, off to uni and trying to, just get into education, further my education.
Okay. Mr. Donnell Oditola, can you introduce yourself for me, please?
My name is Donnell. I've just graduated from Aston University, 22 years old, and I'm currently interning at an eyewear small business called The Vintage Trap.
Thank you. Okay, I'm going to ask you guys a few questions, and I want you guys to be as honest, because these conversations, we've actually had them before. So I want you to be as honest as possible so that the viewers can actually understand and hear your voice, because normally as black parents, we talk at our kids. We don't actually hear you guys. So today, I'm going to give you both the platform for you guys to actually have a voice. The first question I'm going to ask you, I ask both of you and both of you answer it, is what are the challenges you find as a black youth in our community, especially being in the UK? Okay, Isabel. Or do you want to go first?
I don't mind.
Okay.
In our community, I feel like I didn't face much growing up in terms of any discrimination, as the school I went to was majority black. However, as I got older and got into university, you just saw that we were the minority within our communities, and like our community within university just stuck together because we were the only ones that actually understood each other. Further in that, when I went to go and live in Barcelona, it was even worse, as there was a lower demographic of black people in Barcelona. So I didn't really experience it too much. However, now that I'm trying to look for jobs, it's becoming a bit more challenging.
Okay, thank you. So Isabel?
Some of the challenges I think in our community was like, for example, school.
And when did you
When
experience
did I experience that?
Yes.
For me, I experienced it at quite a young age.
And what age would
that
that
was,
be?
In primary school, so probably around year 1.
Okay.
Where I had I realised that I was being treated differently because of my skin colour. Well, I didn't know exactly that it was my skin colour, but I remember telling my mum, oh, how come she treated this Caucasian person like this, whereas she treated me like all the black kids in class like this. And obviously it progressed when I got to secondary school, whereas, let's say, certain hairstyles, I've got an afro, I haven't got straight hair. So obviously my hair's going to be more bushy
and kinky
than somebody who is
Caucasian.
So obviously that was a little problem, like they'll say, oh, your hair looks unprofessional. But for someone like me...
At a young age?
Yeah, like in secondary school, like around year 7, 8, 9, they'll say my afro is unprofessional and stuff like that. So like, for someone who that's your natural hair texture, like there's nothing you can, like, you can do things about it, but that's not your natural, that's not the God-given hair that you were given. Do you understand? So for them to say, oh, your hair is unprofessional.
So did you ask what they meant by it being not unprofessional?
Me being me,
yes.
Yeah. I obviously asked, what do you mean it's not unprofessional? They're like, oh, it's in the way of people, like your hair, like if your hair, you can't sit at the front, it's either like you tone it down. And to me, it's like, how can I tone down?
Yes.
How can I tone down my hair, like, or put in a presentable hairstyle? But my hair's tied up.
Yes.
So like,
how presentable do you want it to be?
Do you understand? So that's like also like that's just one thing that really affected or caused a problem in the community. And it's a thing where like it's not even like the person didn't even have to be racist to have thought that.
Yes.
But because it was deemed not to be professional, that's just what it almost became like the norm.
Okay.
You get what I mean?
And how did that make you feel? Because I know somebody might sit around and say, oh, it wasn't a big deal, but how, at that present moment or when you got home, how did that make you feel?
It's hard because you have to go home and you have to look in the mirror and see your hair.
Yes.
And somebody telling you your hair is unprofessional. Like, that's, as at a young age, that's very impressionable. Like, upon you, like,
Yes.
what you're going to do. Because that could just mean so many things unprofessional in your a workplace, in the school place, in the serious environment. So then, like, you go home and you're thinking, okay, that means, well, I have to relax my hair, or I have to, like, put it in braids, or put it back, just so I can comfortably sit at the front and learn.
So how did that impact on your self-esteem? Because I know you might, at that age, because I know when you're a teenager, that's when you're finding yourself. You're trying to find in how you fit in socially. So how did that make you, because I keep asking that, how
Like,
did
that
it?
was hard,
Yes.
because already I was African, and like, back then it wasn't really cool to be African.
No, be real.
Like, when I don't know about you.
I feel like my age group, because we were majority African, like we were the majority,
Yeah.
so we made it cool
Okay.
as such. So I don't think I faced as much.
Yeah,
And
okay.
other than a school, like we went to the same school, but
Yeah.
other than a school, much longer, I've kind of built a deeper rapport with the teachers.
Okay.
So the teachers wouldn't really say stuff as brutal as
They would before.
they would to someone who was younger.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because when I started the school in year seven, the school was a bit bad.
Yeah.
And then in year 8, when the head teacher took over, when the new head teacher took over,
Okay.
that's when it kind of changed to the making everything professional. You had to have school bags, put your top button up. So then we were still in the transition phase.
Okay.
So from year 7 to year 9 was a transition phase for me. So when I got to year 10, I feel like they respect you more in year 10 rather than year 7.
Okay.
So the only things they would say about my age group would be you can't have coloured nails, which
To the women, to the females.
to the females,
Which is understandable.
Which is understandable. And with the boys, they can't have lines in their eyebrows, which is also understandable. Designs in your hair, which is understandable too.
Okay.
So only certain things like that, and then girls can't have crazy colours in their hair.
Okay.
That not crazy colours, unnatural colours in their hair. So like I had it fairly different, and so as we were the majority, like we made being African pretty cool within our age group. So.
Okay.
Like in our age group, being African wasn't cool. It wasn't cool. Like if you were African and it was like, oh, you're fresh off the bowl.
Really?
Or, like,
Even though you were born here?
Yeah, even though you're born here, like it was just like, oh, where you from? Ghana. It's like, what am I Ghana? Like it would be like there, like they'll just be there pressure.
Yes.
And then you have people telling me that your hair is basically. When I heard unprofessional, it's basically telling me my hair is not good enough.
Which is true.
So like being told, being pestered alone about being African already. Like I already know what my hair is like, and then you're telling me my hair is not good enough. So it was just angles of not good enough, not good enough, not good enough, being shot at people.
So
in my
negative
way.
energy basically
Yeah.
was being pushed at you.
And that's gonna affect anything you do, because now you've got in your head and you've got the mindset that you're not good enough. So when you're doing something, you're gonna think, I'm not good enough, I can't do it. I'm not good enough, can't do it. I'm not good enough, I can't do it.
Wow.
Do you get it?
And did you normally communicate that to your parents, or you guys kept it to yourself?
I get it done.
You kept it to yourself? Wow.
Because I didn't really experience like much like prejudice or any discrimination too much. I didn't really feel like I needed to. Only the obvious ones, like there was the time where, like, not exactly to me, but as we were the majority black within our school, there was one time a Polish boy said to a Nigerian guy something racist, and the whole school beat him up. So
No, the African.
No, the whole school. Literally, the whole school beat him up because we were the majority black.
Yeah.
The Jamaicans beat him up, the Ghanaians, the Nigerians. So
Africans,
they're like we were the majority, so we kind of were
Dominated.
We had control. So
Okay. Okay. So now moving to the next question. Is what challenges did you face in education, especially with your teachers?
Always being put, for me, always been put down a set. Like even in primary school, it came to like the SATs, simple SAT. And I was just as good as every single Caucasian person in that class.
You were better.
I was even better.
That's it.
So like I remember my mum was saying, oh, why are they not letting you do level 6? Why are they not letting you do level 6? And I really couldn't, like,
Tell
there
her.
was no reason, because it's not like I wasn't doing well in class tests or whatever, like, there was no problem, but, like, that's when it first, like, hit me that there is a difference. That was, like, going to school in Essex showed me that there's actually a difference between mine and your skin colour, because I couldn't just do something simple as SATs and try get a level 6. When my results came, got all 5s, everything was right. On my exam called my test score, I was probably like 5 questions wrong out of the whole thing. So like for me not to do level 6 is like, do you get, that's when I first. Anyways.
What about you?
Discrimination from teachers.
Yes.
Not too much. I just feel like teachers all have their favourites and they cater to who are their favourites, regardless of their skin colour. Like, because we were the majority black, I feel like they catered towards, they had to find the certain ones that they did like out of the black people within the school. So they would always just go for the smartest one, then they'll just leave the people who aren't as smart, so that they gave all the smart people all the opportunities, and all the people who weren't as smart, they wouldn't get much opportunities. And I feel like it kind of leads them into a position where, like, they won't
get as good as people who are smart because not enough attention is given to them. On top of that, if they don't do well, then in the future they'll just look
to things like selling
drugs or just not going into deep education, not going to university, just because they feel like
they were not given the opportunity.
Like we haven't seen that side, and we're not as good as other people. So how can we succeed?
Okay. Now, currently, one of the questions I'm going to ask you, I've got another question. I'm going to ask you: do you feel your cultural heritage supports your decision process, especially in your community?
You go first.
I do to an extent. The majority of parents would say they want their kids to be doctors, lawyers, engineers, but then we need to realize that when all the stresses of those jobs come on, is it what the kid really
wants to do? Because the parent won't be experiencing those stresses of those professions in like
when it's a hard day at work. Let's say a doctor had a life or death situation given a surgery, the parent isn't there to experience the stresses. Only you as the individual can feel your stress. So yeah,
I would say like it does play a part in like what your child or what kids do in the future, because let's say a huge part of culture is like, well, African culture, most cultures would be like, when you have your kid, when they're a doctor, you can now go back home and say my child is a doctor. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
So like that's like
so it's more for them.
Part. It's more like, yeah. Whereas like I feel like vocational jobs or like even non-vocational jobs, like people, like it's overlooked. Like imagine trying to go back home and be like, yeah, my son is a successful business bin man.
Yeah.
Like do you get what I mean?
But do you know what? I feel like if everyone all wanted to be doctors, lawyers and so forth,
would have no patience.
like there wouldn't be like professionals like teachers in the world.
Yeah.
There wouldn't be simple things like bin men. There won't be. Do you know what I mean? So not everyone can be that, because there's only enough room for.
And I feel like it's almost forced upon that we are to look for like an actual job, because like say you wanna anything can make a job. Do you know what I mean? Like
yes,
you can start a business
from
selling, I don't know, the inside soles of a shoe. And that business, you can
become a
then
millionaire.
develop on that, get designers, make investments, then meet up with people, and what's it called?
Network.
Yeah, network. And then before you know it, that business that was giving you maybe £5 in your account, like you're getting a meal a day or way more than that. But because it was overlooked, as it's not a respectful job, that
when you say respectful, is it in the
like
in the eyes
respectful in the eyes
of your family?
Yeah. Or even your community.
Yes.
because it culture 100% plays a huge part on what your kids will become.
Do you feel parents have these ideologies, do as I say, not as I do?
Mm-hmm.
And why? So how would you interpret that?
They will say, let's just say they are just, let's just say they are a bin man, and I feel like they give their like they tell you what to do through what they would have done rather than what they actually did.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel that's kind of hard to, I don't know, like even if I feel like hindsight is a good thing, and I feel like the best way to learn is from your experiences rather than,
Because it's like somebody's sitting there, and let's say they work in a corner shop, and then their kid wants to own a shop instead of working in a corner shop, but they're telling their kid, no, you have to be a doctor. And then they're looking at you and saying, but like if that's what you wanted to do, like you could have really picked up a book and gone and done it.
Yes.
But now you're forcing me to go and do that same thing. And even still, it's like, is that gonna make me happy? Because at the end of the day, when that check rolls into your account, how much stress and how much burden is gonna come with that money? Do you understand? I don't think the money is worth the same amount of stress.
Do you feel that, okay, not do you feel, okay, I'm going to change the phrase. You know, when you say hindsight, you know, sometimes through our mistakes as parents, we realize that probably we didn't get the opportunities. Because, for instance, we get parents that were born in Ghana. So when they got here, they didn't get the opportunities that you guys got. Don't you feel that sometimes how they feel that you can capitalize on that experience or that opportunity? That is the reason why.
Yeah.
So sometimes don't you sort of like feel that you can cut them some slack? So it's not more of an imposition.
Yeah,
I hear that, but then
it's at the same time they need to realize that we should focus on happiness at the end of the day. You should do what makes you happy rather than what will make someone else happy. Let's just say, like, you want to go into dance, right? Let's just say she understands the industry of dance more than the majority of us would understand the industry of dance.
Okay.
So she would know how
profitable it would be for her to live within her means, if that makes sense.
Yes.
So if let's just say a dance teacher gets 25,000 a year, let's say that.
she'll be able to weigh up her cost in order so she can live happily as well as doing what she loves. Do you get what I mean?
Because I feel like, okay, for example, like say I wanted to be like, I'm a dance teacher and stuff like that.
But that's what you do now.
That's what I do now. I feel like
you've won competitions as well.
Yeah. So like for me, it's almost a thing where I can see where I would be at the lowest point of my career and where I can get to at the highest point of my career. Do you understand? And I feel like when our parents come from back home, like if we're gonna cut you some slack, you need to cut us some slack. Because it's like, okay, you went through the Ghana system or you went through the African system or Caribbean or whatever, but you need to remember we went through the British system. And as you can say, oh, but I went to school, I went to college here, but at the end of the day, you didn't start from nursery, primary, secondary, A-level, uni, like we can now see that the opportunities you see is education. We see way past that. Do you understand? So we're seeing way more than just education. We're seeing more opportunities and education. Do you understand?
I hear that. And on top of that, what she was saying was culture.
As far as like culture and the
thing, we need to understand that culture had adapted because we're not the same African culture. If it were African culture in England, so it's kind of adapted.
It's kind of diluted, basically.
Evolute.
I wouldn't say diluted,
but it's
like it's
like an evolution of your culture.
Just evolution of culture within the UK. Probably, let's just say in Africa, or let's say in Ghana, it would stay the same in Ghana.
In Ghana.
Because like our positions here and their position there are kind of different.
Yeah.
Because like we have more opportunities. Let's say we just been raised in a different environment. So like culture kind of has to evolve. It has to evolve to fit the situation that you're currently in.
It
like
can't be
the survival of the fittest. Like we always have to. If we keep our culture the same. If we keep our culture the same, I don't think we'll be able to
build. Or
we wouldn't be able to grow as a community.
Yeah, as a community.
Yeah.
Because if you're thinking about it, it's like if we're trying to live how they lived 1,000 years ago, we would not survive.
Okay.
That's how we have to look at it when it comes to like our culture and things we want to do. Because if we were to eat raw meat now, everyone would get salmonella. Because our body is no longer built for it.
Yes.
Do you understand? Because we discovered fire, then we realized, wait, the fire can cook the chicken.
Yes.
This tastes better. Then we found seasoning, we can put seasoning. And then imagine so somebody who showed seasoned chicken, you give them raw chicken to eat. They're not going to take to it well.
Which your system, because now your system is not conformed to a new...
Exactly.
Okay. All right then. So, do you think you need education to be successful?
I feel like you need it to an extent. As me coming out of university now, looking for graduate jobs, it's been like very, very hard. How I got this role wasn't through education as an intern in the Vintage Shop. I got it through networking. So when I lived in Barcelona, there was a guy on my
Football team, and he introduced me to his friend who owned the Vintage Trap. And then like I just reached out to him and asked just for him to be my mentor so I can learn from him. But in terms of education, I don't think it directly gives you, well, education, it doesn't, let's just say you're at university, but it don't help you get a job.
Okay.
It just give you the degree alone and that's it.
You're on your own.
You're on your own. So, and I would see it as,
when I've been applying for jobs, the majority of companies say they're looking for experience, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, or so on. Let's just say I'm applying for 25 jobs now, 15 of them would say you would need 2 years experience. And then 10 of those jobs would say you need a degree. So if you want to get the best of everything, I would say you need education to get those 25 jobs. Yeah, just to get the best of everything. So yeah, that's it.
I mean, I reached a point where I'm at A levels. I would say like you would need it up to I think you would need it up to A levels at least, or even GCSEs, because for GCSEs, like that's literally the foundation. Like, do you get what I mean?
I would say
I'm thinking about success. I'm not thinking
like
to be successful. Like
to be successful, I don't think you need education. Like, I don't think you absolutely...
You need education, but is it essential?
That's what I'm saying. Like, need, like...
A need is what you can't live without.
Yeah.
So
you can live without.
You can be successful without education. Because I know people who, straight out of A levels, they did an apprenticeship. And right now, I am 3 years behind them in the job world. So straight from university, I feel like you just kind of have to have a plan regarding what you want to do.
And it also depends on what you want to do. Like, there's some things like accounting.
Yeah.
You don't need to go to uni and
can just
study
do an
a
accounting
degree
course.
you may not use and go into debt. Like, you'll just do the accounting course and do it. Like, there's so many other jobs that don't require like a higher form of education, and I feel like that's very blown like past.
I feel like education, like accounting, you still need to educate yourself by doing an accounting course, but you wouldn't need to go to university to do that course.
Yeah.
So I feel like you'd always need to educate yourself. Period. But then educate yourself in university. I feel like university is more for the life skills and I feel like it's just a next step to growing up.
Okay.
More than the actual education, because most of the time you educate yourself to pass rather than to actually educate yourself to actually learn. Because that's what the system requires of you. You just want to finish university with the highest grade possible rather than fully understanding
what you actually learn.
Yeah.
Okay. So what you've actually said is you go to uni to learn life skills, and that life skills would actually help you grow up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because they don't teach you in school how to pay bills. They don't teach you how to like.
Actually, they do, because when you go to uni, and
No, I'm talking about like in
School.
in school,
Oh,
not,
yeah, yeah.
not in uni.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
As in like secondary school or A levels. Like when you're being taught, like you don't have lessons on. You don't have Monday first period, money management. Monday period to like paying bills. Like that's not.
do you
on
think
the
that
agenda.
would be a good if you had
I think
that?
if at least like once a week out of a school,
Just the life skills.
just
Just
a
teach
life skills like lesson where you learn the fundamentals, things that if you're gonna live by yourself that you would require. Because now when you go to uni, you have to find your own 2 feet. Obviously, you have your parents to help you, but some people aren't in that predicament where they can just quickly turn to their parents and ask. Some people aren't like that. Some people have to try and figure it out themselves. So like I feel like in school they should really cater to everyone. Like that's why uni, like you said, go uni, because you will learn all the fundamental life skills that you.
I feel like it gives you like a good enough foundation, but it doesn't help you get jobs.
Okay.
Because you need to remember that, let's just say 100,000 people graduate from university this year alone. You need to know that you're in competition with the other 100,000, and I'm sure there's not 100,000 jobs for each one of these graduates. So they need to teach. Like I feel like there just need to be more opportunity provided in order to cater towards graduates, and more roles, more roles that the graduates would enjoy more than anything.
Okay, when you said this, you reminded me of my producer Joe. He actually did say something a few weeks ago that it would be good if we got mentors, for younger people of a certain age. And do you feel that would be one of those aspects that would actually help? Like if you let's say that, like the way you want to do dance, you know somebody that is famous, and because you're young, you do choreography, you do a lot of stuff. You do competitive dance. Do you think if you had a mentor, that would actually push you forward?
Yeah. If I had a mentor who could like show me exactly
the blueprint,
the ropes, and like this is how it is. If you want to start this is what you're gonna have to do. You're gonna have to connect with this person. It would be good to go here, go there. Like realistically, that would be absolutely
brilliant.
Perfect. Like, but. And is there a person that can really take time out of their way?
You can only ask.
And be able to help me in every aspect that I want to grow in. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Okay, because we started late, I'm not going to go through all the questions. I'm going to ask you one question. I'm going to ask you a question, which is Black Lives Matters. What is your view on Black... No. What is your view? That is your perspective, not perspective of what is out there. Like Black Lives Matter. What is your view on it? Because I know I've got my view, so you got...
I feel like Black Lives Matter, and it should. But I don't think we will ever get to a position within a society where Black lives will truly matter to those in power. We need to be in a position where we can empower we need to empower ourselves in a certain way. But until we get into a situation where we've got someone who's high enough in the like the power chain, like to make a change, I don't think much will change. So the best thing I would suggest in that situation would be just to empower ourselves in our home countries, because that's where we have power.
Yeah, I say we're gonna have to like develop our own, like where we actually come from, like where our parents,
our heritage,
because like the only way to really move past this is if our countries can stand on their own 2 feet. Because right now, at the end of the day, we are gonna look to the Caucasian man and ask, can you help us out?
Yeah, we're gonna
Like
need their help
either way,
regardless.
we're gonna turn to them. Okay, we can march, we can protest, we can make awareness, but at the end of the day, after we've done all of that, we're still gonna turn to them and be like, can you help us?
Can you invest?
So can you invest? Can you fix this? Can you help this? Can you clear the road? Can you build more buildings? Can you take these people off the street, put them in houses? Like, at the end of the day, we're going to ask them for a huge support. Whereas if we all just turned around back to our own place, our own home, our own country, and we helped move it forward, that would be how we're empowering ourselves, by doing well in what we want to do well in, then turning back and then pushing forward our country. Because at the end of the day, if we sit here and we try and make all these differences and all these changes, it's like they're just gonna, like I said before, right now we are crying babies. Eventually we're gonna stop. We're gonna stop crying, we're gonna get tired, we're gonna fall asleep. Then they're gonna keep us settled.
They're gonna keep us asleep until we wake up again. They're gonna keep us asleep. They're gonna make everything go back to how it was, and then whilst they're crying, they're gonna be like, oh yeah, when a baby cries, you make them feel like, oh, don't worry, everything's gonna be fine. Then as soon as they fall asleep, life just goes back to normal until they wake up again and start crying.
And that's literally what's happened generations before us. So the generation who marched before us, they were crying babies. They gave them a couple things, minor, like not minor.
They gave them a dummy.
They gave them a dummy, gave them milk, gave them their bottle, cleaned them up, and then they were like, cool. Then they stopped crying. Then it came to us and we realized, wait, those were just temporary things.
Measures, yes.
The bottles run out. Bottles run out.
Yes.
The dummy is lost.
Yes.
What do we do now?
So now, what do you guys feel that is the way forward?
As I said, I would say empowering our home countries and creating roles for black people within our societies to empower us. So like, let's say for example, even if someone just wants to become a musician, just providing them like the help to be musicians, like creating black music labels. Like currently they fired Nick Cannon from Viacom because of a comment that he made on his own radio station. So that means he can't be on any white TV shows. Like he can't be on MTV, VH1 and so on. But he can, now that P. Diddy had empowered himself and had his own black TV channel.
Yes.
He can go on there.
He can, like, he said to Nick Cannon that he can come onto his TV show.
Yes.
So I feel like that's the only way, by just having our own and helping each other rather than looking for help from,
supporting. I know there was this thing that was going around on Instagram where you can, like, there was a day where we were just supporting all black businesses, like get involved in stuff like that. Like, that's so important. I feel like it's so important to empower the person sitting next to you. Like, if Danelle had a business, it would not make sense for me to go to like, it wouldn't, okay, it could, but like, I wouldn't go to like a Caucasian man for the same job Danelle is doing when I'm trying to make a difference in our community. So like, do you know what I mean?
I get what you mean. What we also need to understand is, like, our money, which is why I say we need to empower our own communities, because even if she gives the money to me, we need to have a whole system that the money would go around. Because let's just say I'm graphic designing for her right now for a new business. If she pays me and I just say, okay, I'm gonna go to the shop now and just buy let's say buy a chocolate. That money that she's given me is going out of our community
back into the Caucasian.
So we just need, like,
black business,
a whole ecosystem of businesses
that is black centered.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's almost impossible if we do it here, which is why we need to
go back home
and empower our.
But what do you think is hindering us from doing it back home?
I would say
Culture's one.
culture is one. Number two, I would
When you
say
say culture is one, when you say the culture, explain.
I would just say in terms of culture, there's just certain values that are held that
Like respect your elders.
like respect your elders. Let's just say that one. If me as a young man going to Ghana to start a business, and they would try and take advantage of me as I am young
Yeah.
and from the UK.
And instead of looking at him.
And instead of saying we're empowering our country, they'll be like, you have to respect your elders.
Yeah.
And I feel like that is kind of becoming outdated as I focus on morals rather than age, because elders are starting to abuse their power the same way that police would abuse their power
Yes.
in a stop and search situation. They know who's in control.
Yes.
So in terms of that, older, they just need to stop. With culture like that, it needs to kind of change.
Because then it doesn't become like we're fighting more than just a Caucasian person, and we're fighting more than just racism in itself. We're almost fighting ourselves, because how can I go back home and try to help and make a difference and say I want to be a politician and join somewhat? They're gonna look at me like, look at this young girl, she's speaking too much, she has too much
she's too vocal.
Yeah, they'll take it
personal.
almost as attitude, and they'll take it as disrespect, whereas really they need to humble themselves and sit down and be like, oh, this girl she's talking,
she's
some
very
sense.
passionate.
Like,
Yeah,
she's
she's
passionate.
passionate.
That means
She's trying to make a change.
she's trying to make a change. She's trying to do something for the greater good.
Oh, okay. Messages.
Yeah. So
Okay, keep
She's trying
going.
to do something for the greater good. Do you understand? Instead of that, and I feel like that would be the problem with.
So what was your initial statement?
Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
What was the initial question?
My initial question was
Black
Black Lives
Lives
Matters.
No. Going back, you said something before the culture question.
Okay.
You said culture. What you said? You answered culture for one.
Okay. So when I just wanted you to expand on the culture.
I know, but before
aspect.
that, what was the question?
That was the question that.
But
we'll laugh about
either way,
yes.
ways that we can make a change
Yes.
would be just adapting culture and just creating like the leaders. You asked the problem.
Yes.
What is the problem?
Yes.
The leaders are a problem. On top of that, as they are focused on pride and greed and just getting money, getting quick money that can better them and their family rather than the whole community. So there would be like let's just say for like if China come now and say we're going to give you a loan, but then we'll give you this amount of the country. So
then they'll be like, I'll take it. But then you haven't realised that you just lost a percentage of your country.
So, I would say the main one is leaders and culture. Those are my.
And we need to be careful with who we pick to lead, because you need to remember that when you're picking someone to lead, you have to think that they're no longer living for themselves and they are actually living to make others happy.
Yeah.
Because that is kind of the key point of the leader, because you're no longer thinking about just your family, you're thinking about
the whole country.
Yes. And the whole country is your family.
Yeah.
So that's nice.
On top of that, in terms of the whole country thing, like as political parties change so often, someone's work they weren't completed their work, as there's people who are on the opposite side, they would let's just say 4 years. So in 4 years, let's just say I'm trying to build schools, hospitals, but by the third year is when it will be in full flow. However, like by the fourth year is when the other party like you haven't done enough, so then they will take you out of power, and then
we also have to make sure that you're not they're not afraid to lose power to someone greater. Like, for example, I can't even. I think who came after Washington? I forgot.
Oh.
But I remember there was a time where he didn't even finish his full presidential reign because he realized, I'm at my peak. Like, this is as far as I can take
the
us.
country. Yeah.
It wouldn't make sense for me to run again when I know if I do that, there will be no huge change.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, after he wrote the Constitution, he was like, cool. I've done what my purpose was, and I've done as far as I can get us. So it's time for somebody else to come and get involved. But I feel like sometimes when people are put in power, they like it so much that for the greater
abuse
good,
it.
they're too afraid to lose it.
So when we're saying that we need to empower ourselves, because this was to do with the Black Lives Matters and how we can change the narrative. So with all that, do you feel there is a way forward?
There's always a way forward.
How do you think we should proceed in that? The reason why I ask you guys the question is you guys are the next generation. Because currently it feels like we are digging the holes and putting the corn in the ground. But you guys have to come and water it for it to actually produce. Do you understand? So the reason why I always look to you, the youth, is the older generation is obstinate. Our parents were, you know me, that I conform. To an extent. I conform to an extent. When I say I conform to an extent, sometimes whatever I do, I'm told, oh, be diplomatic, do this. And sometimes I try and do it and it doesn't work. You see, because there's a saying that you can't do the same thing and expect different results. Do you understand me?
Sunny.
Yes. So my thing is, now, for generations, we've been doing the same thing. The same mindset, we've held on to it, and we are still where we are. How do you feel we can move forward and change that mindset? Because when you go to Africa, what you're saying, the political era is the same way as you say. You are too young, you don't know, this is how we do things here. And this does affect us as Black people. Because if you are in your home, because yesterday you guys gave a narrative, that it's like you living in your home and gone.
So it's basically, it's like you living in your own home.
Yes.
And someone so we are, England is a country and they're the homeowners, right?
Yeah.
And it's like we're coming into their home and trying to tell them where they should put their furniture.
Yes.
And it makes sense why we would never get to an equal level of power that they do, because we are. No matter what we say, it's not our house at the end of the day, which is why we need to empower ourselves back home, because that is our actual. That's our actual house where we can put the furniture how we like. Put it wherever, turn it upside down, you can take it out, you can throw it away. But then I would understand why we'll never get an equal power within this country.
So
and some people may argue, oh, but we built this home. Some people may argue that we built this home, okay? But builders, once they've built the house,
they don't say this is my house now.
And say this is my house. Do you get it? Yeah. Like, it was
you were working for me.
Like, even though the circumstances of which we were working in weren't like one that we would have chosen.
Yes.
At the end of the day, if we look at it very blankly, we are builders. We built the house. England are the house owners. Then we're trying to come back to the house that we built and say, move the furniture. No, because I bought the house. So you was there to build it. I bought the house, and now you're trying to tell me I should move my furniture. No way. That's almost what we have to look at it blankly, and it's quite unfortunate that that's how we have to look at it. So if you really want to move the furniture in the house, go back home to your house and move the furniture and do it how you want it.
Nice narrative. Now that is a very, very good narrative, because at the end of the day, as you say, The fact that we are born here does not entitle us to feel, as much as we've grown up in the system, that we are part of the system. We are just,
Like, we're immigrants.
yeah. We're not sort of like immigrants.
We're not immigrants, but in a
But
way,
we're not owners of,
Yeah.
we've just got citizenship or we're just born here. But our heritage, which is Africa or the country that we belong to, is where we need to empower.
But really and truly, like, if we really wanted to completely stop racism, like, it should be a battle of law. Like, it really, it could be, like, as hard as that can go, that could be years of battling, of changing something in like, I don't know, changing something in the law book or whatever, or in, like, whatever constitution. Like, it is it's a battle of law. Like, it's somebody, like, if we really, really wanted that to happen, like this, I'm telling you, it could be just a battle.
But at the same time, we need to understand that we won't be able to change everyone in the world.
Yeah.
Like everyone.
But
with
if
the
you
racist.
can't change them, you can set up a law like, do not kill doesn't stop people from killing. However, it does let them know that you will be punished severely. And it also lets them know that you shouldn't do it. Do you get what I mean?
At the same time, the lawmakers, are they on our side?
That's
or,
what I'm, yeah.
or are they not? Which is what I'm saying.
But the laws...
which is why I initially said we have to get power regardless. Like, we have to empower ourselves. Like, regardless of how we get power or no, we just need to be in position to make those changes. Because, as you said, we're just crying babies right now. Even if we go on a battle, we're still crying babies.
Still crying.
Okay, so when you say that, then I go back to the education aspect. Whereby, don't you feel to be able to empower yourself, you put yourself in strategic jobs or positions whereby it gives you that power?
But will we get those opportunities?
Anything, I feel like anything you do can put you in that position of power. Like, it doesn't have to be owning a business.
Like Jay-Z right now, he's one of the most influential black leaders in the world. But he didn't go the education route. He started making music, and from music he networked, as he said earlier, and more than that. So I don't think we really need... Even Kanye West, he's gone through the presidential race.
Obviously, empower yourself, I wouldn't say with education, I would say with knowledge. Because lack of knowledge, there's ignorance. Do you understand what I'm saying? And where there's ignorance, there's darkness, and you cannot see through a dark tunnel.
Which is true.
So, like, knowledge is almost like a key to everything. Like, when you go to school, you're going to acquire knowledge.
To expand
your knowledge.
Your awareness, yes.
I feel like if as a community, we knew more about, like, I don't know, things we need in life to just help us, like,
life skills.
Push us that bit further. That is knowledge to me. That is knowledge that you would need. Instead of, because me reading a book about algebra, I'm still sitting in the classroom, just algebra. Like, I haven't, like, I've learned something, I'm book smart. However, if somebody was to tell me something, I could not tell them whether they are right or wrong.
Yes.
Do you get what I mean?
And one thing is, I know both of you are intellectually smart. So you guys are actually talking from the intellectual aspect of it. Do you understand? So now, do you feel your parents listen to you from that African... Do you feel your parents listen to you? No.
Listen to us about what?
When you have an opinion about life, your education.
I feel like everyone is different, innit? Like, I feel like to an extent, everyone they want to hear. Everyone wants to hear what you want them to say at the end of the day.
Which is a parent.
Anyone in general, no particular parents. If I'm going to Isabel now, and I want her to, let's say I don't want her to be a dance teacher. I just want her to be a maths teacher. Let's just say that. If I go to her, be like, I would kind of
edge like the conversation.
The conversation. I'll edge it into the way in which I would want it to. So
all you hear is teacher.
All I hear is teacher. So when she's saying dance teacher, the only word that comes into my brain is
Is
teacher,
teacher.
not dance teacher. So I feel like people hear what they want to hear at the end of the day. Like, and if you don't agree with them, that's when it kind of becomes a problem.
That's when it becomes a problem. Like, my parents listen to an extent. Like, they will always want me to do more, like, this in general. But like, how can you not expect your parents to do that? But it's whether like hearing and listening. I feel like that's two different things.
So they hear you, they just
Like,
don't listen to you.
Yeah, you can hear me, but you cannot not listen. Because, well, mum's getting better at that.
I just
Getting better
His
at that.
mom is get better at that.
Yeah, because like she realized that I'm very, but like somebody who is not like me and who is headstrong can easily be swayed by their parents. Whereas me, I'll be like, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. I want to do this, and I'll keep saying it till you go, nah. All right.
Okay, currently we've got 5 more minutes, and I feel that what you guys have said is brilliant. Really, really brilliant in the sense that I always say we actually, as you just said, we hear what we want to hear, but we don't really listen to you guys. What do you feel we can do as parents?
I would personally say just educate yourself on the situation at hand. So
You mean the parents should
the parents should educate themselves. The only way to ever understand the situation is to
Know
understand.
what they're talking about.
To know what they're talking about. So, like, let's just say, going back to the same example, dance. If you want to be a dance teacher, like, educate yourself on how easy is it to get a job as a dance teacher? How sustainable is it to be a dance teacher? Rather than just going off of
What you think.
what you think,
What
you
you've
know,
heard.
rough, or what you've heard.
Like, actually take the time, look at it, and say, okay, you wanna be a dance teacher, cool.
Let's look for opportunities.
Let's go and see how we can get to that point. Whether if we go this way, or
Even if
this way.
even if you take a step back, let's just say same teacher example. Let's just say you want to become a dance teacher, become a teacher first. Let's say become a teacher. Okay, let's say you don't believe dance is so easy. This is just an example. Become a teacher first. That's a sustainable job. Which,
but at least research it first.
Just research how ways to become dance teachers, and so on. Like,
I think that's really important for parents. Like, now you're seeing that, like, when your kid comes to you with like an aspiration or something that they want to do, before you shut it down completely or
understand
think,
it.
No.
Understand.
Take your time to go and look at it, because for someone like me, I'm not gonna walk into something because I want to live within my means, and I know I want the finest things in life. So I'm not gonna want a paycheck that I won't get the finest things in life.
Yes.
So I will guarantee you that I have done the research on my half. We can both do research and then move forward
and come to a place of a compromise. Potentially.
But you can't go down onto a level of your child and talk to them when you actually don't know what you're talking about.
Because you're, at the end of the day, you won't experience their sadness. You won't experience their depression. And you want to experience their happiness when they're doing what they like. So I feel like it's up to the individual what they do. You can advise them, but you can't impose how you feel.
Thank you so much. And one thing I want to say is we are being sponsored by Omega Live TV, and they help the youth in the community. This is a new project they've started, and I feel that is a brilliant idea, because most TV houses, what they do is they just do the norm. You, the youth, are the new generation. And I hope you guys realize a great opportunity that you guys have had today to be able to air out your views. And want to thank my producer, Joe. And my lovely lady that is sitting there, sexy. And thank you so much for coming today and giving me your time. And have a lovely day. And thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And sorry that I didn't read the messages. I had a glitch on my phone.